What's up guys, Barry Gaming here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today we are talking about Cecia. Yes, the hero everybody has built. A lot of people love this hero, other people think she's completely overrated. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where I think she is a very solid hero, especially in the early game. However, she extremely drops off in the late game compared to other team compositions. However, there's one thing I want to talk about with this hero. Of course, getting her Queen Summons ultimate buff is the most important thing. Getting Mr. Carlisle onto the battlefield, entangling all those enemies, then dealing tons of AoE damage is the bread and butter. It's basically survive until Cecia gets her ultimate and then hopefully win from there. However, typically you need to run like a Rowan on your team and all this fun stuff. I'm still gonna run a Rowan on the team, but I have been kind of thinking about the new artifact Cascade Spell, and I think this is the one that comes from unlocking Duras, but don't quote me on that. Gives attack, HP, haste, but the important part is during the first 4 seconds of battle increases 100 energy per second for the rearmost allied hero. All debuffs inflicted on this hero will be dispelled when energy hits full, and then of course it increases the amount it's getting right here. We don't have 15 unlocked yet, so it's not going for attack, which means we don't necessarily need to use this on Cecia. But I'm going to show you guys a couple options. And actually, you know what? AFK Battles is a perfect place to highlight just that. So let's go with Cascade Spell. And we're going to completely change our team up to pretty much what people normally use, or at least have a more used to team that they're seeing. Now, I still, even on this account, my Entendre is like still kind of weak. So I'm not going to use her. I'm going to use the Thorn instead. Normally, the Entendre would be there. I guess what we could do, we could throw a Brutus up front. That's kind of a strategy a lot of people do use. We do need our Cecia. I'm going to show you what it looks like having her in the most rear spot. We're going to do this, and then we are of course going to get Koko. This is the bread and butter team. You use the Brutus pretty much anytime, and Tundra is going to get completely blown out of the water. You do notice we do have some sets and stuff like that going now. Actually, I don't know if I have a set on anybody in the team right now. You need 3 epic ones to actually get something out of it, and yeah, none of them quite have it just yet. So this is a pretty good example. Let's watch the Cecia in the back here, and honestly we should slow this down so you can see the energy boost is going up, and then it goes very quickly up to full. So that is a cool strategy, because then Rowan can still get his ultimate and get some other things off. The only downside is normally you want to use Cecia's ultimate followed by Koko's ultimate very close together. That way you're getting the damage reduction. You can see right here they're kind of staggered off. It doesn't work, and then after those first 4 seconds this artifact isn't really doing all that much. Yes, we're gonna win, but it's basically just in that time period that you're getting the energy. Outside of that, you're not getting any benefit from it. However, the other way I've been using this as well to test out and see if it's actually a valid option is using it on Rowan, because any team that puts Rowan in the team, it's usually because you want the entire team to get an ultimate as fast as possible, and that is exactly what we can show you here. And it's actually, I mean, it works pretty much the same as what you see right here. I've started to use it on my zoo comp team. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to place the Rowan furthest back now. The only downside of putting the Rowan furthest back is the fact that his healing with his potions only go 2 tiles, and that's not going to be enough to reach the Brutus in the front, which means he's going to be a little bit more vulnerable. The only option we could do besides that is do something like this, where we try to keep him as close as possible, but again, he has to be the furthest one back. And if we do this, he will get the energy instead, which means it leads to his ultimate literally at the 4-second mark, which can end up pretty good. As you see right here, everybody's able to use their ultimate even faster, and since we don't have level 15 on this artifact, we don't care about quote-unquote wasting the attack, because we don't have that bonus attack just yet. And you saw how seamless that worked, right? The whole point of this team is get that Rowan active as fast as possible, and that was like the fastest you will ever see it in the history of the game, like legit. But there's a slightly different team I like running in this scenario, and it's a little bit odd because it does mean it is a little bit more squishy. It is putting heroes more to the forefront and keeping him a little further back, but still in this spot is enough. Floribel can tank some hits sometimes. You can see if you try to go a full zoo comp, you're not going to have a good time. At least having that Brutus in the front row is going to be the play. So we still want to have that tank in the front row, but we can push everybody much closer to the battle if we don't care too much. And you can see how fast this is going, but again, putting everybody right in the front is just a spell of disaster. Plus we have these really annoying creatures, man. All these moving emus and everything, oh my gosh, they drive me nuts. But again, we don't need that team all the way up the front. What we do need is him to be the furthest back, so we can start everybody a little bit further back, but still let him be the furthest back, and he will get that excess energy. And you can see how it works a little bit better when you're positioning just a little bit better. We're able to get the shields off. Sadly, the Cecia is still a little off. It's not the best strategy. Honestly, I still prefer running either Cecia or Floribel in the setup. I don't like running both, because the one thing that really happens in this team is you're not also getting that healing and attack buff from the Smokey and Mirky. So it still might work, but you can see how even trying to mess with it, trying to do this hybrid type team doesn't work. Just stick with the tried and true method. Put the Smokey in here as well. Put him like that. And honestly, we could probably do something more like this. See what the damage coming in is. Yeah, one of them's going to target Koko. That's not the worst thing. As long as he is the furthest one back, he's going to get all that energy. Boom. He goes for his ultimate. Whew, this wave is just really, really difficult to run the strategy. But this kind of also highlights why this strategy doesn't always work all the time, and why the Cecia comp does fall off eventually. But I did figure I would show you guys this comp, because I know a lot of you do have those heroes. You have Cecia, you want to make her work, but she does struggle when she's hitting up in power compared to someone like Floribel. Maybe when this gets stronger, it'll have more uses, because 20% additional attack for 8 seconds after you get full energy is a pretty powerful effect. But the fact that there's no other effect happening after that, so the first 4 seconds and then the 8 seconds after your first ultimate, whereas some of these other ones give all these different buffs, do AoE damage, more skill damage to the team, does a spirit bomb, gives healing. It just feels like this one is lacking overall, but it does have its uses, and this is the one spot I have found that it has been useful, and that is the traditional Cecia composition. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys find another team that this works out well on, leave a comment down below. I'd love to try it out and see if I can highlight it. But it does seem like it is a valid option, especially if you're really trying to just speed to the fastest ultimate on a Rowan possible. And honestly, if you use Rowan in any other team composition, this is still really good. Again, the big downside is he's not 2 tiles away from the tanks sometimes. But that's neither here nor there. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let me know what you guys think about this artifact. I'll see you guys next time.